live from the Daytona 500. It's the show that got custom helmets, bro.
I love these.
All week we were talking about getting full jumpsuits. I actually think the helmets are better.
I agree.
Because it's less of a commitment. You can put it on, you know, wear it for a little while, safety reasons, and then maybe take it off. And right now we're thrilled to be here. The audience is thrilled too because we have these special microphones. Nick actually can't talk. So it'll be one of our...
I'm locked in, buddy.
Okay.
I'm locked in.
How is it with the helmet on?
I feel very secure, ready to race if they need me. This is an unbelievable...
It's been fantastic so far.
Awesome.
It's our first time at the Daytona 500. We're thrilled to be here. 68th running of the Daytona 500. Tons of storylines. We've got a power-packed guest list coming. And of course, we've got the Bud list too. So we're just thrilled. A quick rundown on what we're doing. Today, won the pole last night. I think he's the sentimental favorite as he tries to win this race. It's been so elusive. Kyle Busch will join the show in about a half an hour. Meanwhile, friend of the show, one of the voices of NASCAR on Fox, Clint Bowyer will also join us. And finally, and Brew, this is interesting, he's actually making his second appearance on First Things First. He came on after he won in 2018. Austin Dillon joined us. We actually were not on the show. Also not on the show, Nick's hair.
That is true.
So I don't know if he's either going to remember.
That's the question.
I'm not... Oh, that's the picture? Wow. What a legendary look I had. It's also proof of something, Brew, that you've always known, but Wilds hasn't really believed. This show did, in fact, exist before Kevin Wilds joined it.
I was a big fan.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. I thought just for the record, I do think you look better with your highlights. The long hair and the highlights do look better.
This is really unbelievable to be out here. And I don't know if the audience gets on camera how massive this place is. I mean, I know it's famously big, but yeah. I knew it was going to be big before we got here. I'd never been here, Brew, and it is just all-encompassing as far as the eye can see. It's unbelievable.
The grandstand looks fantastic. It was renovated about 4 years ago, and now it's just about doubled in size. So.
I know that Nick is impressed by the grandeur of the place because, like my children, he just keeps asking about when he can go to the gift shop.
No, that's not true.
To the point where had to arrange transportation to get him to the gift shop.
Gear. I do want some gear from the Daytona 500. I think it'll be great.
But I was like, let's focus on the show, and then you can get to the gift shop.
Yeah, that is true. That is exactly what happened.
We are starting with the Great American Race. It will be Sunday, 12:30 on Fox. Tons of storylines before this race, none bigger than who you got. Here are the odds, Nick, and we'll start with you. Denny Hamlin at the top spot, Ryan Blaney, William Byron going for his three-peat. Kyle, he's tied the odds with Kyle Larson. Kyle Busch is coming on later in the show. Fastest last night, my guy Joey Logano from Connecticut. Also, Chase Elliott I like a lot. Brad Keselowski, who broke his leg in December. No, actually in January, he's walking around with a cane, but still giving it a go. So a lot of storylines here, Nick. We'll start with you. Who do you like? Not in pencil as we learn more about the race.
Well, I think the most interesting and storyline-laden result would be either of the Kyles winning. So Kyle Busch or Kyle Larson. So Kyle Busch, you already alluded to it, won the pole last night. He is going to be a first ballot NASCAR Hall of Famer, and this is the one thing he's never done. And this was his 21st start, obviously, famously. Dale Earnhardt Jr. won in his 20th start. And so for Kyle Busch, who's come close a number of times, 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s, he's won 2 season championships, to go from the pole to victory lane, which, by the way, has only been done, or has not been done in the last 25 years. Last person to do it was 2000. That would be remarkable. And then Kyle Larson, who is the defending series champion, but has really struggled, Brew, at the Daytona 500. 0 top 5 finishes in his career, only 4 top 10s. So the odds tell you those guys are very, very live to win this. Either one of them winning this thing and being kind of the final crowning achievement of great careers would be, I think, the best story.
Yeah, and if either one of them wins, they get the crown jewel.
Yeah,
both of them are going for that last of the 4 big races. So that would be great. But I'm going to surprise you guys. My guy was not among the favorites.
Wow.
But he is great on this track, and that's Bubba Wallace. I'm going with him. Now, first of all, 7 of the last 10 winners have been first-time winners here at Daytona. Mm-hmm. So he has never won here. He would be the 8th and 11th.
Very close.
But he's raced well here. Yeah, he's 21-22. He finished as a runner-up. He's also won another race here at Daytona. So in 6 of his top 10 finishes, he's got 10 top 10 finishes. 6 of them are here in Daytona. So this is the best track he races at. And so I think he's got a real chance to do something special here and win. And it would be the first win for, he represents Jordan and Denny Hamlin with the 2311 organization. It would be their first win at a 500, and it'd be appropriate because he was their first driver.
Wow. Speaking of Michael Jordan, just a little tease for tomorrow. Tomorrow, live from Daytona, most to gain and most to lose.
He should be on the most to gain. This
maybe for the first time.
Right.
I'm just saying for the first time.
That would be historic.
Yeah.
I've got 3 guys, and it's mostly a overview of my view on sports. Because as you know, I was watching the NBA this whole year. I look at the Oklahoma City Thunder and say, oh, man, Thunder sure look good. They could run it back. And as we just saw the mighty Patriots fall to the Seattle Seahawks, we saw the odds open up there. Yeah. Next year, I'm looking at the Seahawks.
Yeah, shocker.
I mean, I'm just giving like what the data is telling me. William Byron has won this race the last 2 times. Only 5 drivers have ever won back-to-back. He would be the first person to win 3 in a row. The interesting part about it is how much of this is his feel for the track. How much of it is a little bit of lady luck? He's only led the Daytona 500 for 14 laps over the last 2 races. That is a very different story than my other guy, Joey Logano. He's from Connecticut. When I was on another show, we had him on. I was like, hey, race car driver from Connecticut. But I've always rooted for Joey Logano. He already has won one, but he has led the Daytona 500 at some point in the last 9 races. So he's kind of the opposite. He's always in the mix, hasn't been able to get across the finish line first since his original win. And finally, Brad Keselowski. The Brad Keselowski story of he's taking his daughter skiing, drops her off, falls on the ice, breaks his femur. It's like, you break your femur? You're going to be out for 6 months. Like, no, turns out was cleared recently. He's going to run. He showed up here. He's with a cane, but he has a great sense of humor about it. The cane has got sponsor stickers all over it. He says he feels better in the car than he does out of the car. He's 40 years old, looking to win. I just love the story of a quick comeback, so I'm rooting for Keselowski as well.
No, that's a great, and he's also in line for the crown jewel.
Well, so what Brew's talking about, because I know probably a handful of first things first viewers might not be super tuned in to the history of motorsports or what Brew's talking about when he says the crown jewels. 4 biggest races on the calendar: the Brickyard, the Coca-Cola 600, the Southern, and of course the Daytona 500. There are only 4 guys ever who have won all 4 of those races, and they are names that even the most casual of sports fans know. It is Jeff Gordon, it is Dale Earnhardt Sr., it is Jimmy Johnson, and it's Kevin Harvick. There are 3 guys who, if they win this race, that's the last crown jewel race to complete their, quadfecta, if you will. And that is Brad Keselowski and the 2 Kyles that I was talking about before. To go to your first guy, the guy who has won back-to-back, William Byron, what's interesting about guys going for a 3-peat, because 5 guys have gone back-to-back. Mm-hmm. Only one has come even close to the 3-peat, and that was Denny Hamlin in 2021 when he came in 5th. And as far as teams going back-to-back, like the Hendricks team, which has been the most successful, they have the most poles here, the most championships. We've never even had a team 3-peat.
Right.
And so this is Hendricks' third attempt at a three-peat for their team, which obviously Byron winning would do that. And so, and who was your other guy? Oh, Logano. Who I believe it's the record, at least modern record, most consecutive Daytona 500s having led a lap. To your point, he's just always in the mix.
That's what I'm interested in. We're going to bring Jamie Little on in a second. I'm interested in the strategy of how often you want to be ahead. So if you're ahead, obviously, you can't get wrecked. But at the same time...
Well, you can, though, because somebody the guy in second or third trying to pass you can wreck you, which we've seen happen to guys that they got wrecked because they were leading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because somebody makes it on the last lap, makes an aggressive path.
It's a rude move. If I'm leading, do not try to wreck me. I think middle is dangerous. In the back, you don't want to just get lost.
And William Byron, the last one that he won, it was probably, to your point, maybe a little more right place, right time than the first one because of, to your point, he was in 11th late in that race, and then a wreck
9th,
or on the last lap.
Yeah,
maybe that's what I was thinking.
Amazing.
And then the wreck takes guys out, and he sweeps in, and all of a sudden goes back to back.
All right. Joining us now is one of the voices of NASCAR on Fox. Jamie, the note said this is your 12th Daytona. I just want to confirm that it's your 12th Daytona, because I don't know if we're counting visits or it's just in an official capacity. You were at the pole last night. You talked to Kyle Busch, so you've got all the storylines for us. What do you think is the number one storyline? And also, obviously, thank you for joining us.
Good to see you guys. If you could have seen what just went down, it was like a full-fledged pit crew.
That's what I was going to, yes.
We were like dancing around in chairs here, got my headset on. It's great to be back with you guys. We did this at the Indy 500.
We did, and you were gracious enough to have us to your home. It was so nice. It's great to see you again.
Met all my dogs.
Right,
we know each other. Yeah, so good to be here. Gosh, the storylines, you mentioned it. Kyle Busch, 20 years this guy has been trying to win this race and win a pole. It's the most important pole of the whole year. The prestige, the attention that you get to lead the field to green on Sunday. For Kyle Busch, that's such a big story. So automatically it turns to the big story on Sunday. Can he win it? I mean, there's some stories out there, these champions like Kyle, two-time champion that's never won this race. And that hurts. He's got one spot in his trophy case. It's the only thing the guy has not done.
So this might sound silly, but at least recent history makes it, I think, a legitimate question. Is it good to be on the pole for this race?
It's all the accolades. It's the money. It's all, well done, team. You got the car dialed in. We had the fastest car, best engine, all those things. But it really doesn't matter. Right.
That's what I mean. As far as your ability to win the race. So why is that? Why does there seem to be almost no correlation in this race between starting position and finishing position?
Yeah, that's a great question because it's a drafting style track. So what you're going to see on Sunday is the alliances. You'll see the Ford drivers trying to work together. You'll see the Chevrolet drivers trying to work together and the Toyota drivers. They try to organize it. It is a chess match at high speed out here. And that's why I love this style of racing so much. Not everybody loves it because the big wrecks, but that's the reason why a lot of people do love it. But it's choreographed. It's choreographed chaos. Mm-hmm. You will see things happen on pit road because they're trying to come in together or they're trying to work together and then they end up wrecking each other coming off at turn 4. So that, to answer your question, they can drop back together and coordinate and work forward, but you don't have to be at the front all race.
Well, we talked about earlier Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, all going for the crown jewel if one of them wins this race. Which of those guys would you say you feel like has the best shot to do that?
Gosh, I mean, Kyle Larson, this just hasn't been his style of racing. It's just been one of those things, and like his Achilles heel, right? The guy can win in anything, anywhere at any time, except for these style of tracks, and I know it eats at him. Kyle Busch, I would say, just based off what we saw last night, obviously it's something he wants more than anything, and he's just one of the best we've ever seen in NASCAR. I would say Kyle Busch, looking at it now, has the best shot, but tonight are the dual races. We'll have a better idea who has that better-looking car in the draft.
I watched your interview with Brad Keselowski. He had his cane. He feels like he's in good spirits. And just reading the initial report to go from, he actually talked about old school medicine and cutting your leg off. That's how much his leg hurt, to the fact that now he's got a cane and he feels good in the car. Are you as surprised as I am that he's going to be ready to go, and how do you think he's going to perform?
I'm not so surprised because that's just how these guys are made. You know, like it doesn't matter what happens. They want to be in that race car and nothing else matters. And crawling inside these cars is not the easiest thing. And he's not the shortest driver. So for him to climb in, you see him walking with his cane right there. But a few years back, he shattered his ankle in a test crash. He came back 4 days later and won the race. I mean, it was just that motivation, that drive. And you get in that car, those guys strap in, and adrenaline takes over. So, honestly, he's a guy that's never won this race. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled it off.
To that point, Brew had a wicked cough like a few months ago. Didn't miss a show.
Yeah.
So well done.
I play hurt. Yeah. I play hurt.
The Vegas favorite, at least, is Denny Hamlin. He's won it 3 times, trying to become just the 3rd driver ever to be a 4-time or more champion. And he was perennially, he won it, like I said, 3 times and had 5 other top 5 finishes. And then since they've gone to the next-gen cars, which I will admit I'm not totally familiar with the difference between the next-gen and the old-gen, he has struggled massively in this race. How big of a difference was that switch of cars? And is it as simple as what I'm attributing it to, that for some reason a guy who dominated at this racetrack has not since the cars changed?
Yeah, there are a lot of differences. Also, the bodies change in these cars. So Toyota got a new body a few years back. And there's things that they have to learn to adjust to. But I think it's more for Denny, just wrong place at the wrong time kind of thing, because he's always in contention. I'll mark my words, he will be leading this race on Sunday. So will Bubba Wallace. There's just guys that are inherently good. They used to say, Dale Sr. said, you could see the air. Not everybody can, but the guys that can are always running up front.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're talking obviously about some of the great storylines, and there are just a ton of them. One of them, of course, William Byron going for the three-peat. I mean, first, only 28 years old. What would that mean for his legacy if he goes ahead and pulls this off?
It'd be incredible. I mean, to do something, how long this sport has been around now, 77 years. For him to do something that's never been done at such a young age, it would be huge for him. He's the all-American kid. He started with iRacing. He was one of those little computer geeks playing racing on his computer. His family had nothing to do with racing. He fell in love with it, told his dad this is what he wants to do, and he lands with Hendrick Motorsports, and he wins the Daytona 500 twice. This guy, he's like the most eligible bachelor. Ladies, I'm like, we need a Taylor Swift kind of thing. Sydney Sweeney, this is your guy. Yeah. Come on.
Nick was one of those computer geeks.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Jay, we've been so locked into football for the whole football season, and then we switched over to NASCAR. And we've been researching and finding our favorite storyline stuff that echoes with us. And earlier in our production meeting, it's you know what? I'm just going to ask Jamie what she thinks are the best storylines that we should be covering. What's sort of not maybe A1, but what's interesting sort of in the weeds to your expertise.
I love those open cars that aren't guaranteed, that are here with their whole team. They threw these teams together to try to make the Great American Race because of what it means. And we're going to have 4 bummed out teams going home after tonight's race. And I think those stories, there's so many, but one that really stands out is Corey Heim. This young man, what he's done last year in the Truck Series, I do play-by-play for that series, he won 12 races out of 25. Broke records every single week, and there was something else that he was adding to the record books, became the champion. Now he's running 12 races in the Cup Series. He was incredible last night, punched his ticket to his first Daytona 500. I'm telling you, that's a guy to watch for. Maybe call him a dark horse.
Well, that's interesting because obviously a lot of guys have come from the trucks to NASCAR. How big of a jump is that? How difficult is it to make that switch, or is it at all?
It's huge. I mean, you ask any drivers that have raced a truck, and they say they are the hardest things to drive around here. When you get in a Cup car, a little bit easier, just more comfortable, but the level of talent, I mean, from the first place all the way to the last place, those guys are tough. They're the best in the world, and they got here, all different backgrounds, but a lot of them came through the Truck Series.
In the 67 runnings of this race, the 4 most lead changes, 2 of the 4 happened in the last 3 races. There were 52 in 2023. There were 55 last year. Is that just coincidental, or is there something that has happened over the last few years that has led to this race having more wrecks down the backstretch, seemingly a little more randomness, and all the lead changes at the end?
Yeah, well, there's all of those things go into it. I can guarantee we're going to see a lot of wrecks. It just happens. You'll see the big one. But something that's happened, this phenomenon, is fuel saving. And that's really what brings the pack together. And they run at lower speeds to save fuel. And it's kind of controversial, but watching at home, you can't tell the difference if they're going 180 versus 200 miles an hour. But that's added to it. I mean, these teams are so smart. The level of engineering, people don't give NASCAR credit. They are at the level of F1 when it comes to engineers. They've got these war rooms back in North Carolina stacked full of engineers watching every single thing that's going on right here at the racetrack. They know, they figure it out, they find a way.
So that I want to follow up on that because it seems like every sport we cover, particularly baseball and basketball, to a lesser degree football, has changed massively just in the last, forget 20 years, 10 years, because of analytics revolutions and the different knowledge and information people now have and the way they execute it. It seems like, and if you can expand on it, that has hit motorsports as much as any other sport, and NASCAR is obviously included in that, where strategies that maybe when you first started covering motorsports were not even considered are now mainstream, and if you are not implementing them, you risk being left behind. Do I have that right, and can you explain that further?
Yes, it's all about technology, what it's done from what the pit crews are doing, going over the walls. I mean, these guys have we've got professional players, guys that played in the NFL. We've got a Super Bowl winner that goes over the wall for one of these teams because that's how the team has evolved. These teams have evolved. Back in the day, they had a cigarette in their mouth. They're going over the wall, changing tires. Things have come a long way, but with drivers, it's the simulation. These guys like Kevin Harvick, Clint Bowyer, they didn't come up in that era of sitting in a simulator and testing out different setups for your car and saying what you like and don't like. And you can come to the track, unload, and you're pretty much in the ballpark. It's a completely different thing. And if you're an older driver and you try to do that, I've heard so many of them, they get sick in a simulator.
Oh, wow.
It's a young man's sport when it comes to technology. And guys like Kyle Busch, they want to be in the seat. They want to feel the car in their butt. And not all these younger drivers have to do that necessarily.
Who would you say is going to be the fan favorite here on Sunday?
Gosh, there's so many stories. If Kyle Busch wins, this is the craziest thing because he's been like the most hated driver.
Yeah.
And that's kind of switched over to more so Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch, everybody's cheering for him. So I would say he'd be a sentimental favorite, maybe a fan favorite. I think if Brad Keselowski could win his first 500 with a broken leg would be incredible. And I just said people love to hate on Denny, but what he's been through in the offseason, lost his dad tragically in a house fire, the lawsuit, all the things that are now behind him, and losing the championship nonetheless, came so close to that. But I would say sentimental favorite, people would have to be happy to see him win it again.
Excellent. Well, Jamie, we're looking forward to the race. Thank you very much.
You're
Always
the best.
Great seeing
It's a
you.
pleasure.
So good to see you guys.
Have a great, is this your 12th or 13th Daytona 500?
I don't know.
No way
I
to
think
tell.
It's my 12th. It's my 20th year covering this sport. I started when I was 5. Okay?
Jamie Little, thank you so much. Coming up next, more First Things First from the Daytona 500. And Clint Bowyer joins the show.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. Finding a home is like dating. You're not just looking for a place to live, you're searching for the one. That's where Realtor.com comes in. Like any good matchmaker, they know exactly where to look. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, you could find your perfect match today. Ranch style with a pool, barn dominium with an in-law suite, Realtor.com's got 'em. Modern craftsman with a big yard and a treehouse out back, Realtor.com will have you saying, yep, that's the one. No more swiping. It's time to start finding. Download the Realtor.com app today, 'cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pros #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
Welcome back to a special edition of First Things First, live from the Daytona 500. We've got Clint Bowyer right now. And tomorrow, Joey Logano, who one of us might be picking. He is from Connecticut, so it feels like, and I've said he's my guy several times on the show, but Nick all of a sudden said, wow.
I just said that's where I think the
he's trying
smart
to
money is.
Ryan
I'm just
Blaney,
talking about
Chase Elliott,
He is trying
and
to
the one
steal.
and only
No doubt.
Jeff Gordon. This has been excellent so far, and Brew was right. It is a little windy here. We made fun of you for demanding a blanket in Florida, but you might be right. Joining us now,
brought a coat over.
one of the voices of NASCAR on Fox, and no stranger to this track, Clint Bowyer, 10 NASCAR Cup wins. You've been on this track 15 times. Again, I am not the expert. You are. In my limited research, you have finished this race upside down and on fire.
I was going to say, you started with expert, and then you went to the fact that I finished
to me, I just felt like that was a bad strategy. I just felt like it's a bad strategy.
in a Jack Daniels car.
Thank you for joining us. We're just talking about wrecks.
Yeah.
How much of this race, early, late, middle, talk to me about, is just avoiding getting wrecked?
Well, attrition is everything. You're at a 500-mile race. I mean, first and foremost, that's a long time to be out there. A lot of moves, a lot of communication that can go right or wrong, right? That's the magic sauce that wins this race, teamwork. This is a race that's unique in the sense that you need help. You can't go out and win this race carrying that only car on your shoulders, right? You have to go out there and work well with your teammates and get in the right position, and moreover, put those drivers in a situation where they have no choice but to push you to that win. So the chess match of Daytona is real in that sense.
So Kyle Busch, who we're going to talk to in a bit, yesterday said he thinks this might be 80% luck, and that struck me as I'm curious. What's your take on that opinion?
Well, he hasn't won. This is 21 years for Kyle Busch and hasn't won the Daytona 500 yet. But best opportunity he's ever had with the RCR car, set it on the pole last night. So he will be leading this field to the green. Huge opportunity for him and Richard Childress, a shot in the arm for the team, much needed. But I agree. But the other aspect of that, saying there's a chance, baby.
Right.
20%'s better than none.
How much of the last we've had in the last decade, nobody who's led the most laps has won the race.
Yeah.
Wild just talking about that 3 times in the last decade. The only lap the winner, the final lap was the only lap they led the entire race. It is something. Has there been something about the way this race is driven over the last 10 years that has added even more variance or randomness to a race that always had a fair degree of it?
Yeah, and that randomness changes year to year too, and season to season. And the car, right? This is a new design car. The Gen 7 car drafts much different than the old car did. So the same ingredients, the pieces of the puzzle change a little bit. Still need the teamwork that I talked about. Still need the attrition, be a part of it. Miss those, those wrecks that happen. 90% of those aren't your fault. There is a few that have been my fault over the years that you've caused. Sorry, guys. That was my bad on me. A lot of money was just blown out the window. But, you got to get all those put together. And as that race plays along and you go through these wrecks, you lose those teammates, you lose those opportunities, those pieces of your puzzle change, your dancing partner, if you will. Man, you show up to the dance and you had that date. Yeah. But that date went to the bathroom and never came back. I got to get on the dance floor and find me another dancing partner. That's real why this race is going down lap after lap after lap. The mistakes on pit road, you lose track of all of those opportunities, the allies that help you win this race. So being able to adapt and figure it out on the fly, working with your spotter up there on the roof. He's literally right there behind us up there. He's your eye in the sky, right? And he has to help you guide the way. If he sees a line coming. This is a unique race in the sense that it's really not important what's out the windshield. Hopefully there's no cars in front of you out the windshield, right? But everything in the rearview mirror is very vitally important. You have to be able to block those runs, and that's where all these wrecks happen. You get all this energy, this momentum from 4, 5, 15 cars, whatever the case may be, pushing a line ahead, massive amounts of energy. You pull your old single hot rod over there and block that line. Yes, you needed to make that move to stay in the lead, but you've also stacked them all up and caused one of these massive wrecks like you see right there.
Yeah, and as we were watching the highlight earlier of your 07 finish, first of all, what in the world is going through your mind when something like that happens? And secondly, how do you bounce back for your next race or you know what I mean? And put a wreck out of your mind for your next race?
Well, you close your eyes first and foremost. Anybody that tells you they don't close their eyes when they're upside down is lying to you. That's the first thing you do. You know, when you get scared, just close your eyes for whatever reason. So you peek out every now and then. If you like what you see, go ahead and open them up. But at that moment, the funniest part about this story is Austin Dillon and Ty Dillon's dad. Mike Dillon was my spotter, one of the funniest human beings you've ever seen in your life. I'm sliding so long. I mean, if you look from the front stretch to where that wreck started off of 4, I mean, it's probably 400 yards down there. So I'm sliding on my roof forever, right? And he starts yelling at me, hold the brakes, because there was a car coming up that's going to hit me. But his nervous reaction was just to say, hold the brakes. And I'm like, what the hell's that going to do? The tires aren't even on the ground, you know? So it was a funny story when we got back of laughing at each other over that. But you just never know, guys. You have to put yourself in those situations. You have to go for it. It all comes down to positioning yourself on that last lap and doing, you know, the chess match of what I was talking about, of trying to situate yourself in front of somebody and put them, more importantly, in a situation where they don't have a choice but to push you.
We've got Coach Mangini on the show, and he helped us look at the football season, or at least me, in a different way, where I look at the football season from 17 games playoff.
That was sweet.
That was awesome.
Wow.
That was a test of the flyover.
American flex right there.
Yeah, that was good. My goodness.
Okay. So 17 games in the playoffs, and he's like, you know what? As coaches and when players, we don't look at it like that. We break it down to 4 games at a time.
Yeah.
Who are we? These 4 games, do we need to change these 4 games? Second half of your 4 games. How do you look at this race? All the laps, do you break it down into segments, and what are you looking for in those segments?
It's a really good point, and this is why, in my opinion, this is our Super Bowl. It's unfortunately, with this sport, it's not unfortunate. It's cool. The fact is, our Super Bowl is the first race out, right? Everybody's rusty. Everybody's been sitting on the couch. Everybody's doing things in the off season, because the off season, let's face it, it's very short. So everybody's rusty with this. You may have a new team. You may have a new spotter on the roof. That communication, all those things that are the winning secrets to this race.
But it's an odd mix to be rusty
now listen
for
to
your Super Bowl.
You go to that Super Bowl in those situations that
Patriots were.
Okay.
Sure looked like
Yeah, but think about all these games and all this preparation. Think about if the football season started with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What that would look
it'd be
like.
crazy.
Yeah.
How would you you cannot preview that. Who's going to win? I don't know.
Patriots
Let's see
lost
what
to
happens.
the Raiders. In week
Their Super Bowl in week 1 were oddly similar.
That's why this race is so unpredictable and so hard to figure out and to make a guess, a guesstimate of who's going to win.
Even if you get through the whole race without being wrecked, you don't end up on your roof. How physically exhausting is driving the Daytona 500?
We have power steering.
So it's an honest question.
It's hot. The biggest thing is you're just mentally completely drained. There is so much happening, so many decisions made just this fast, right? You have to make them so fast, and they're so important. You're either going to end up wrecked or you're going to end up holding on to that lead. And those, there's never a timeout like you have in football. Yes, there's a caution. I guess that's kind of but when you're out there under green flag conditions, it is nonstop. It's not like first down, second down, third down. You have breaks. And honestly, from my new perspective of calling these races in the booth, that's challenging. I watch football games, and I'm almost jealous because you guys get a chance to take a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That down's down. All right, let's talk about the next setup. Read the defense. What are the offense looking like? What are we going to do for the next play? That's nonstop in NASCAR, and these teams are tasked, and fuel mileage is a big part of this. Our track position and managing all those things. How are we going to set this up? You kind of run this race in reverse. And what I mean by that is you want to set yourself up for the next to last stop to get to the last stop to where you take as minimal fuel as possible, because that makes that pit stop faster. So you will gain track position, and you want to come out that last pit stop in the lead and hold on to it for dear life.
You keep mentioning the spotter on the roof. Take the driver out of it. Who is the most important person on the team race day?
Quick study, buddy. You're a very quick study.
Okay.
It's him. It's that spotter. If he's telling you the wrong information, that wrong line, the wrong timing of that, I said clear, not near. But I'm talking, I mean, it is so vitally important to be in, you know, in the front and winning that race and not. I mean, and not means wrecked, by the way. You know what I mean? It's his communication and the timing of that. When he tells you clear up, it can't be a decision of the timing of you look in the mirror and agree with his statement. You have to trust in his words and do it immediately. If you don't, you'll be wrecked.
Okay, final. We're leaning towards guys. Do you have a winner for this, or someone that you think we should keep our eye on? How about that?
I'm putting the pressure on you first. You're up. Who are you picking?
Go, KW. You can have him.
Well, I'm a Logano guy. I'll put Logano.
Connecticut's known for its race car drivers. That's what everyone's
He has won the Daytona.
I know.
Well,
Logano is a solid pick.
I like Logano because he's been in first the last 9 Daytonas. He's like, I've been here. I think he was second in 2023.
So it's his time.
I like Logano.
I love it.
I'm sticking with Bubba Wallace right now.
Good one, man.
He's been good here.
I will be rooting for the Kyles. Larson or My pick is Ryan Blaney.
I feel like we're under attack.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to be the other guys with their boys.
My pick is Ryan Blaney.
I love it.
He's come close a bunch of times. He's one of the favorites. He won the season championship a couple years ago. Seems like this would be fitting for his resume.
I'm going to choose a guy that you would think is the obvious because he's just come off of another championship, his second. It's going to be Kyle Larson, but it's not because he hasn't been able to piece together good restrictor plate races and drafting style races like Daytona. He's always there, though. I'm telling you, he's knocking on the door, going down the back chute of the Daytona 500. You look over, there's the 5-ball going for it. You cannot be in that scenario that many times and be denied. I think it's his time.
Awesome.
Wow.
That's
Love
a
it.
great pick.
Great Clint Bowyer.
Thank you.
Clint, thank you so much.
Go Chiefs. How about that?
Thank you.
Yes.
We got through the segment without talking about a team that didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, you know what?
That was my goal.
Oh.
That was my goal. It wasn't even really close, to be honest.
Hey, and look what happened. Look how
Exactly.
boring that was.
Exactly right. Exactly, Clint.
More from the Daytona 500. Next up, first things first.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. If you're hearing me, I'm going to assume you're awake. And if you aren't, because while you're snoozing, someone else might be finding your dream home. That's where Realtor.com comes in. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, that's a lot of chances to find the place you've been dreaming of. Whether you're searching for a 2-story mid-century with a pool or a little extra space with a spa-inspired bathroom, Realtor.com can help you find it today. So quit hitting that snooze button. Realtor.com isn't sleeping on finding your dream home, and neither should you. Download the Realtor.com app today, 'cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pros #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
Last night, right here on FS1, Kyle Busch wins the
Pretty
pole.
good.
183.925 miles per hour. And
You won't round up for him? Just call it 184.
you know what, Kyle? I'll call it 184. Everyone was happy for you, Kyle. You posted this on your social media. Your son was fired up. So that's great.
Awesome.
The dog is also happy. And then this morning, you hit a little dance to 50 Cent's Disco Inferno, which we couldn't clear. But at home, if you want to play Disco Inferno, it really adds to the drama. So congratulations on the pole. Feels like everybody's rooting for you. Tell us, we'll start with the pole. How does it feel to be the pole setter at Daytona 500?
Well, at least I qualified on the pole and I wasn't dancing on the pole.
Right.
All right, fair terms.
That was good.
But yeah, no, it's awesome, you know, because I've been coming down here for 21 years. I've never qualified on the pole for the Daytona 500. And when you come down here as a young guy, you're like, I got to qualify on the pole. I need that recognition. I need everybody to know my name and know who I am. And then when it doesn't happen, you kind of forget that that's even a thing, you know? So, but trust me, now I'm 40. People have told me plenty today that, hey, you're 40 and you're on the pole for the Daytona 500. I'm like, yeah, I got to show all these guys how to do this. Let's go, you know? So great race car last night. Everybody from RCR did a fantastic job building the speed in that zone Chevrolet to get us up front.
KW said everybody's rooting for you, and I think that is a fair sentiment. It is also maybe, I don't know if Kyle Busch 15 years ago would have believed, hey, everybody's rooting for you.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't really kind of your
Rooting against me
persona,
15
right?
years ago.
Exactly. So how different is that for you, going from in wrestling parlance, I guess, from like heel to face, which it seems like has happened, in a really cool way for you?
It has, and it's kind of weird how it all transitioned. I was with the M&M's team and Toyota and all those guys for a long, long time, at being Joe Gibbs Racing, and then when I joined over to Team Chevy with Richard Childress Racing, like, it was a little bit of a flip, of fans like cheering for me again. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. Like, what happened, But it feels great. I love having Rowdy Nation and the fans on my side. And you're right. When you come down here, you hear a lot more like, man, this is your year. We're pulling for you. We want you to get this done, So I wouldn't say that adds any added pressure to me to be able to go out there and do it. I've been running this race now for 20, 21 years. And so to me, you got to treat it. Treat it like those dogs, where it's just another day.
Obviously, it's great to be on the pole, but we were talking earlier, and the pole position winner hasn't won in like 25 years or so.
Right, you're right.
So how are you viewing that? Advantage, disadvantage? What makes it so tough to win from the pole here?
So years ago, back in the 80s, 90s, teams would come down here. There was probably 5, 6, 8 drivers that could win the race. And then there was probably 6 or 8 teams that could win the race. And whoever was matched up, those were your favorites, right? Well, now when you come down here with the new next-gen race car that NASCAR has, everybody, they're all the same parts. They're all the same pieces. And so everybody, I feel like, has a chance to win this race. You'll drop the green flag, and there's going to be 30, 35 guys that you're looking and be like, I don't know who the favorite is. Any one of these guys could win this race. And so it a lot of times comes down to luck at the end of the show, where in the last 3 laps or the last 5 laps, there's some chaos happening. Guys are pushing on each other. They're getting aggressive. They want to win the race, and accidents happen, right?
Yep.
And you got to make your way through that crash. And, last year, I think William Byron came off of turn 2 on the final lap. He was in 10th place.
Yep.
And they all crashed in front of him, and he made it through, and he won the race. I mean, you never know where you need to be. You just got to be that guy in the right place at the right time.
You've led 342 laps of this race. I mean, obviously, if you're leading, like, the flag drops and you go, I think it'd be weird to be like, I'm going to win right now. I'm in first place. But when in your mind are you thinking, like, all right, I'm actually going to make a run to win this? How late in the race do you start thinking strategically about winning in a real way? I know you always are thinking about it.
You are. I mean, the strategy starts from lap 1. There's going to be a lot of fuel saved. We talk about that a lot, where if you can save more fuel through a run, when you come to pit road, you have to put less fuel in the car so you can jump the guys that burned more fuel on that run prior to that, right? So when you come to the end of the race, in the final stage of the race, if you're saving enough fuel and you've got really good mileage, that then you can put less fuel in your tank on that final pit stop, that leapfrogs you to the front. That's when you start realizing and recognizing where I'm at, having the track position, having the know-with-all to be able to go out there and put yourself up front to have a shot to win.
Can I ask you, sorry, Nick, real quick.
Go.
When you're getting close to the finish line, the pie chart of your brain, what percentage is don't let someone wreck me? I'm looking around. I do not want to have someone else end my race. And how much it is, I don't care. I'm doing like offense versus defense.
I think it kind of depends on where you're running. Like if you're leading the race, you're just solely focused on looking in the rearview mirror, looking behind you, trying to control the lanes, trying to keep because the energy in our race comes from behind. So when the guys behind come up to the car in front, it pushes that car out front. That's the draft. That's pushing the draft through and making the whole line of cars go faster. And so if you're back in traffic a little bit, like you're, say, in the middle lane, if there's 3 lanes and you're in the middle and you're 3 rows deep, you're looking all around you. Who's around me? Which guy's going to make the mistake? Where's the crash going to come from? And so a lot of times, those things are all going through your mind.
So tonight's the duels.
Correct. The qualifying races.
Right.
Yeah.
But you and Chase know where you're starting.
We do.
So, apologies if this is a foolish question. What does tonight matter other than, the downside risk of somebody screws up and now you're on a backup car? Like, have you thought about today, man, I'm going to just be a lap down and chill. Like, how do you approach tonight when you know you're sitting the pole no matter what?
Correct. So that's a great point. So a lot of drivers or teams that do win the pole or win the front row locked in positions, they will sort of concede the qualifying races tonight. I feel like one thing that you should do, though, is you need to get in the mix a little bit. You need to kind of feel your car out in the draft, and whether you're leading the draft or whether you get behind a little bit, say 5th place or so, and you can feel what your car drives like in the draft, because when you come to 500 miles on Sunday, you don't want to be driving something that's all over the place. It is too difficult to drive, you know? So there are handling characteristics that will take place on Sunday in 500 miles. So that's the added benefit. The other added benefit, too, though, is in the qualifying races tonight, it is technically sort of a stage in our racing. So in our racing, we have stages.
You get points.
And you get awarded points in those finishing positions. So 1 through 10 tonight will take home some points for the season-long point total. So we know how important those 1s or 2s or 3s of points can be when it comes down to the end of the season. You want to get some of those tonight.
Now, you Kyle, you've won 2 Cup Series titles. What is kind of bigger or more important, winning the Cup Series title or the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl as we've been calling it?
Depends on who you talk to. The guys that have won the championships and no Daytona 500 would say the championships are more important. The guys that have won the Daytona 500 and no championships would say the Daytona 500 is more important. So, but no, frankly, for me, like, I would say the championship is more important. That is your season long. That is you winning the Super Bowl. That is you taking home the Lombardi Trophy. And so, you know, like, this race to me is sort of like the AFC championship game, NFC championship game, right? So that's kind of how I look at it compared to the championship.
Nick, you're the poker player on the show, but I am also great at reading people. Maybe.
Okay.
I am.
I don't
I'm
know.
very good at
Drew
it.
tricks you on the misdirection every time.
That's very
I think Kyle wants to win tonight.
What wants to win tonight?
Yeah, I think so.
And
That's
to-
why.
and Sunday.
That's no. I just feel like it.
Trust me, if you told me that finishing last tonight would guarantee me
I
to
know,
win
but
on
I just,
Sunday,
I just feel like you want to. I feel like, you know what? Why don't I do this? Why don't I do this? Why don't I win the 3 times I'm out here? 1, 2, 3, win them all.
let's go. Hey, I'm that guy. Trust me.
I told you.
I'm always that guy. Yeah.
I told you that.
All right, so this is, you're obviously if you never race again, you walk into the Hall of Fame. You're one of the greatest racers of this era or any era. And a lot of, the all-time greats don't check every single box in their sports history.
Okay.
So no one would say your career was anything other than amazing, even if you never win the Daytona. But that said, it's the only thing you haven't done.
Right.
Do your career accomplishments being in stone make it more freeing to run this race? Or has it somehow, how great of a career you've had, made it more pressurized going into this race?
I feel for me that I can go into the Hall of Fame and be vindicated and validated by the rest of my success that I've had along my career. And this isn't a career-defining moment that gets me there, right? However, I'm a guy that loves to win. I'm a guy that loves to check boxes. I feel like I've done everything I could do here that there is to do. If I haven't, tell me what it is, because I want to figure out how to do it, right? And so that's the Daytona 500. That's a box that I have left to check, and I want to be able to win that one.
If I can just real quick. You said yesterday, and you've alluded to it here, the luck component in this race.
Yeah.
It also seems like while maybe that always existed, the last decade, that has been ramped up even more.
1000%, yes.
Where we have had so many, 3 guys won it, and that's the only lap they led. The last lap,
or the only race they've ever won.
Or the only race they've ever won. So as someone who's now run this race, this is your 3rd decade, I guess, running this race, it's your 21st.
Yeah.
What has changed from your first 5 Daytona 500s to your last 5 that has added even more variance to it?
I think the answer to that is the next gen race car.
Gotcha.
So like back in the day, in the 80s and the 90s and even the 2000s, 2010s, teams, organizations were building their own cars. They had the manpower and the wherewithal of, like, I want my body to look like this. I want my chassis to look like this, And so they want more downforce or less drag or whatever at these different racetracks, right? Well, now we all have single source suppliers. So it's basically a Lego. Like we get the Lego, we all assemble the Lego. How do we assemble the Lego is how fast we make it go, right? So there are still those very, very tiny little minute details that go into our race cars that make them fast at super speedways or make them fast at short tracks or make them fast anywhere else. And so that's where some of the teams like us, RCR, we shine at the restrictor plate races. We love this stuff. This is where we feel like we've got the best opportunity to win, and it's our sport's biggest race coming here at the Daytona 500.
That was a great analogy because Nick still plays with Legos.
I don't play with Legos. I build Legos.
I don't know how you play with Legos. They break.
You have made a few NFL references. We know you're a big Broncos fan.
Yeah,
so
buddy.
In Bo Nix, do you have your franchise quarterback for the next 10 years?
I believe so. I believe so. You know who else I really, really love at the Broncos right now? Sean Payton.
Oh.
You got to.
I love Sean Payton.
Resurrected the
Absolutely.
franchise.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So love Sean Payton and what he's been able to come over there and what he's been able to do. I feel like if Bo Nix was in the earlier coaching staffs, maybe he isn't quite Bo Nix of what he is today. So I do feel like Bo is very good. He does a great job. He led the team very well this year. They won tons of games, and they were able to be so close to.
Probably feel like they beat
that
the
they didn't
Patriots.
know. He did not say that.
Bo Nix
If
were
Bo
healthy,
did not say-
you
he
guys
did not
crushed
say
the
that.
Patriots, right?
He did not say that.
Well, let's ask him.
Yeah.
Let's ask him.
He's
If Bo Nix
focused on.
were
Can I say
healthy,
something? He is focused on winning the Daytona
But it
500.
ain't even been close. I mean, it was close. without him.
If Bo is in the game, they win against the Patriots.
Go
yeah,
win
I mean,
away.
everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Right.
And
What
probably
everybody
make a
thinks.
much more
Almost
competitive
won with
Super
Jared
Bowl.
Stidham.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jared Stidham was pretty good.
I was told he was going to win.
All they needed to do was be ahead before the snow came, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Kyle, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Despite your bad read on Patriots Broncos, we're rooting for you and hope you pull this off.
Yeah, good luck, brother.
Thank you.
I love the Manning era all day long. I'll take them every day over them Patriot Brady's, okay?
Kyle, for the great Kyle Busch. More First Things First. Live from the Daytona 500 next. Welcome back to a very special edition of First Things First, live from the Daytona 500. This has been excellent so far, bro.
It's been outstanding.
It's just
Loving
been
it here.
great, and Nick's hair is in a nice little ponytail. It's beautiful.
It's windy.
It's fantastic.
I don't know what you want me to do.
His hair hasn't looked this good since he had highlights.
That's right. Joining us now is Daniel Suarez, 7 top 10 finishes, 2025 Cup Series. He's making his 9th Daytona 500 start, 7th place in 2023. Daniel, thank you for joining us. I want to start right away with something I've been interested in as we try to figure out the best strategy to win. Can you tell me your ideal plan for track position? I read a long quote. Sometimes you want to be in the front. Sometimes you want to be in the middle. You don't really want to be in the back. What's your general strategy on where you want to be?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. It's a true honor to be here with you guys. But listen, the Daytona 500 is like a marathon, you know, or like a race in a road bike. You know, you don't want to be up front cutting the air for everyone else for 500 miles. So, you know, you have to play the game. You have to play the strategy. What do I mean with that? You know, we're going to be coming to pit road for tires and fuel several times. And whoever puts the less amount of fuel is going to be more efficient and is going to jump everyone over. So the first half of every stint is going to be very important to be fast, but also to save some fuel. So how you do that? Well, if you're up front, you won't be able to do that. If you're in the very back, you won't be able to do that. So the best way to do that is kind of like towards the middle. So it's always a balance between how much fuel you're going to burn and track position to be able to jump some cars out in the second half of the stint.
Daniel, I joked with Wilds earlier because he's Joey Logano fan because they're both from
I'm sorry to
the
hear
same.
that.
They're both from the same part of the U.S. And I said, oh yeah, a lot of, you know, Connecticut, a hotbed of stock car racing. Because a lot of race car drivers are from geographically the same part of the country and same part of the world. You're the first and only, I believe, still person born in Mexico to win in a NASCAR Cup Series or didn't win a NASCAR race. I'm curious about, you know, where in Monterey, the love of race car driving, how you fell in love with it, and how the sport is growing in your home country.
Yeah, listen, before I answer that question, let me just tell you something very funny, because Joey Logano and I were good friends, and he told me something one day that actually it made me realize how fortunate I am. He said, Daniel, imagine that I have a state, a city behind me that support me, doesn't matter what, like yourself. He said, you have an entire country for you.
Yeah.
So I feel very blessed for that. A lot of people in Mexico, watch NASCAR because of myself. And to be able to represent not just Mexico, but the entire Latin American community, for me, is very personal and it's very special. Being today the only guy that can speak Spanish in the cup level, it's also very cool. Actually, I just came from doing an interview in Spanish. I'm the only guy that can do that. So it's very special for me to be in this position and to be able to represent my community in the sport of NASCAR.
That's unbelievable. How did you fall in love with the sport as a kid?
When I was a little kid, I loved racing. I always loved cars as well. My dad has a mechanic shop. So my love for cars started in the mechanic shop. But I remember watching the races on TV, and I used to be super passionate about NASCAR. I remember having at 13 years old, I had an old Beetle, and I remember putting my favorite number on the taillight in the right rear and also in the right front, just like NASCAR. So to me, I always had this mentality, oh, look, just like NASCAR, oh, the big number on the door, just like NASCAR. So even though that when I was a little kid, I used to see NASCAR something super, super far away, I was always super fascinated with everything around NASCAR, and look at me now. Yeah. Here I am. So it's pretty funny how that works sometimes.
Since we're digging into your past, so your father-in-law, Nelson Piquet, 3-time Formula One world champion, when you first met him, was that intimidating because of that, or what was that like?
It was a little bit intimidating for everything that he has done, but the funny part is that 90% of our conversation, believe it or not, it wasn't about racing. It was about cars. Because my background, also as I mentioned about my dad, I grew up working on cars, building engines, transmissions, and things like that. And he did exactly the same thing. And it just happens by coincidence that he was actually on the same kind of cars, which he was in all Beetles and the air-cooled cars in Brazil called Fuscas. Yeah. Because I used to race those cars, and he used to race those cars back in the 60s or 70s. So we were talking about engines, and we were talking about the horsepower, the turbo. So he's a legend, but also back in the day, the drivers had to have some knowledge about mechanics, because the cars, they used to break a lot. Nowadays, we have so much technology, engineering that we drivers, we don't have to be as smart. We just go and that's it. But back then, the driver actually had to be a little bit of a mechanic to understand what was going on with the car.
You switch teams. I'm gonna read your own quote and ask for your reaction. Tell 97 I'm coming for him.
Hey, I hope they told him. No, listen, we were racing a couple weeks ago in Bowman Gray, the Madhouse, the class race, an exhibition race. It's very physical race. Everyone got, at least every single driver got one problem with someone else. and that's part of racing, that's part of short track racing. So I got my share as well with the 97, with the 23, and with a couple other guys. But it's part of racing, like the 97, he hit me a couple times, I hit him a couple times, and it's just a little bit of love. But you know what is the beautiful thing, and I was telling my wife this the other day, is that this is the beautiful thing about being a man, that we fight each other, but the next day we're cool, we're drinking a beer, and we're all cool. So we're good.
What we've asked a few people, this is such a unique thing about this sport, having the biggest event be the first event. Obviously, the opposite of major American team sports and most team sports across the country. How much of your limited off season is actually relaxing, recuperating, and how much of it is in the back of your mind knowing, man, once I'm halfway done with my off-season, Daytona 500 is right around the corner?
That's a great point, because, in November, first week of November, we're finishing our season, right? And I'm super fit, I'm in shape, everything is good. November, actually, because I was changing teams, it was very busy for me, having meetings and all these different things with my new team. But December, I tried to go to December. We went to Mexico. We went to Brazil with her family. And I was eating everything that was in front of me. So what happens is that by the end, right after Christmas, I have to start getting back in my game because, as you mentioned, the biggest race of the year is the second week of February. So I have to start getting back on my game, with my workout, with my food, my diet, everything that we have to do. So it's kind of like, the way I think about it is like, okay, you can have fun for a few weeks, but then it's game time because, February, once you hit January, February comes like this, and you have to be ready.
Well, you mentioned working out, getting back in shape. 30 years ago, and certainly before that, race car drivers were not known for physical fitness. I know that has changed somewhat over the last generation, but yours, how much of, I guess, your relative youth and your physical fitness is an advantage in a race like this?
So the way I look at it is that every single driver is going to start the race the same way, fresh, ready. What happens is that we're going to be racing for 3 hours and a half. Yeah. So we're gonna lose fluids. We're gonna lose some weight. We're gonna get tired mentally. It's gonna get hot. Right now it's actually beautiful weather, but in the middle of the summer it gets very hot. And it's not how you start, but it's how you finish, right? And that's it. That's the part that is very important. That's why I train. That's why I eat well, and I do all these different things because the difference between now and 30, 40 years ago is that 30, 40 years ago, nobody was training. Nobody was doing it. So everyone was on the same field. So all it takes is a couple guys to change the game and to be more fit and better than everyone else for you to start to catch up. So right now we're in a world where if you are not fit, if you don't eat well, if you are not mentally sharp, you're going to be in a disadvantage, not in the start of the race, but at the end of the race when it matters the most.
We talked about you being born in Mexico, but in 2024, you became a U.S. citizen. We're less than 120 days from the World Cup. So who are you rooting for?
Man, that's a tough question. I mean, already my heart, Mexico is in my heart, and it's going to be always in my heart. With that being said, my adult life has been here in the United States. I've been here for 14 years now. Yeah. So I feel like the United States is my home. When I go to Mexico, I feel like I'm going with my people, with my family, but it's not home anymore. Home is here. Yeah. So obviously Mexico and the United States are my teams. But then if you ask my wife, I have to root also for Brazil.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have
Brazil. The answer is root for Brazil.
Right.
That's a smart man right there. That's experience right there. So I have to be smart.
This will be your 9th Daytona 500. Outside of changes to the car, what have you learned? Do you stack something every race, put it in your brain? What have you learned from your first race or 5th race to now?
To be able to win in Daytona, you have to be very experienced. There is some of the best in the sport that they have never won this race. It's very difficult because it requires to put yourself in the right position, to have the car fast enough, and a little bit tiny of luck. So you have to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. That's why it's difficult to win this race. And I feel like right now I'm getting to a point in my life and in my career where I'm still very young, I'm very fit and all these things, but I have the experience now. Now I have this to be able to apply on the racetrack, and that's what it takes to be able to win one of these beautiful trophies.
I have an announcement to make.
What's that?
You're moving up to number 1 in my picks to win it.
There you go.
Number 1. I'm making a change. A great Dale Suarez. Dale, thank you
so
Best
much.
of luck on Sunday. We'll be rooting for you.
Thank you.
More First Things First live from the Daytona 500 next. Yep. Dale, you're going to be number 1. Congratulations.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to a very special edition of First Things First, live from the Daytona 500 as we count down to the race 12:30 Sunday on Fox. I've got some fun facts. Would you like to hear one, bro?
I would.
200 miles per hour around this track. A football field per second.
Well, that is a fun fact.
Isn't that a fun fact?
Yeah.
Joining us now, who's not into fun facts, he's into beautiful prose and poetry in the sports world.
You're better
It's
than
the
that.
great. It's the you
better
are.
than that.
You
That is true.
frame everything in a beautiful way.
Hold on. If you're going to needle
Not just fun facts
the
like I'm
great
out here giving you.
100-time Emmy winner Tom Rinaldi, I'm going to give him a chance to needle you, KW.
About what?
Upset of the decade, Tom. As of this moment, Kevin Wildes is not picking the back-to-back champion to win again. How shocking is that?
I might though.
You're right.
But right now, I'm bet Daniel Suarez. He was
wooed. Yes.
Holy cow! All right, Tom. We've had you on the show a few times. Only on the major events. We've invited you to the studio just to talk sports several times. You've said you're too busy. The major events.
How long is this expected to go on?
You're there for the big events only. Compare the
Terrible.
Daytona 500 to some of the massive events in the entire world of sports.
Simplest true story that I could tell, and I've been doing this a while. Last night, driving from Orlando here, call my wife. It's 7:30 or so, and I just said to her, if I ever lose my sense of wonder, slap me upside the head, because when you drive past
Amazing.
the facade of this venue, especially at night, and you see the scale of it, it's, you know, one of the things I think that television struggles to do, it struggles to capture at times just how ferocious hitting is in the NFL. It struggles to capture the speed of hockey in real time. It struggles at times to capture the physicality of tennis in the modern game. And I think it struggles to capture motorsport at the biggest scale. And here, it's unbelievable. The thing I said to my wife, Kev, was, this is like 15 Rose Bowls.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do something better with the cameras because they don't capture Wilde's hairpiece either. It's just like these iconic things.
I mean, it does a decent job.
So how in researching for, you know, when we knew we were going to come here, almost every Daytona 500 preview or recap has capitalized proper noun the big one.
Yeah.
It's its own, it even has an official definition, a wreck that involves five or more cars. It is a specter that hangs over, you could say all races in motorsports, but this race in particular. When you're talking to drivers, or maybe even more so when you're talking to drivers' families, how much does the specter of that potential and in some ways inevitable crash hang over everything?
I think it does, and in particular it does because of the meaning and the unpredictability of the final lap that we see happen time and time and time again in this particular race, because it becomes such, in a way, a crapshoot in that final lap. We so often see spectacular wrecks. We saw one we saw Denny Hamlin seem to be in a great position. Somebody roars back from 8th, of course, to then win back-to-back, and now trying to go for 3 in a row. All of those things that happen in that last lap, I think, build to the drama of it. I also think it's unique in sport in that it's the pinnacle event to start the season.
Yeah.
And I think that's remarkable. It's awesome. Maybe you could make the case the Kentucky Derby is the same, but obviously there are lead-ups to the Kentucky Derby to try to qualify for the 3-year-olds. Not here. I could never sell the event enough to people to come to try to see in person. And I do think Fox does an incredible job as be a company man here, but I mean it. The audio, all of the placement of the cameras to try to understand what it's like to draft at 189 miles an hour, all of it is just astounding. And as someone who's an interloper to motorsport, my jaw drops when I'm here.
Well, you mentioned Denny Hamlin. You sat down with him recently. He's going for his 4th title here at the 500.
Yep.
What would that mean to him?
So we sat down to Denny to talk about what is an almost impossible to characterize off season for him, right? He's part of 2311. We know what happens with the governing body being taken into court, the settlement that happens, a very bruising legal process for the sport. We know about that. We know how close he comes to the one thing he hasn't done in the sport at 45 years old, which is win the season-long title. His father, who was suffering from COPD, who he thought might not have that long to live, he wanted to win that for his father. He's in great position to do so with 3 laps to go. It doesn't work out. And then, most tragically, a house he buys for his parents in Stanley, North Carolina, goes up in flames. His father perishes in the fire. His mother survives the fire, but with very serious burns. We talked about what that's been like, and in particular, the fire, the loss of his dad, the survivorship of his mom, who will be here as she begins to recover to see him race now for the first time in person since it happened. And we're so grateful to Denny for being so open-hearted and sharing all that he did with us. You know, one thing that's unique here, and I thought he made this point really well. Brew, I know this will resonate with you. The sport finds you, let's just say, in basketball or in football, if you're great. The sport finds you.
Yep.
You can be great in this sport. No one will ever find you if you don't find the money to compete.
Huh.
Right.
And the fact that you're talking about a second and third mortgage, you're talking about 8 credit cards opened up and maxed out to the point where we could go bust week to week. That's the Dennis Hamlin and his mom, what they did to support him. That's a remarkable thing, and that's unique to this sport.
Wow.
So that your full piece will be on Sunday. Coverage starts at 12:30. When you were looking around at other storylines, we've talked to Kyle Busch here.
Yeah.
Obviously, the three-peat we're going.
Yep.
What else hit your radar as something that really resonated with you?
I think, listen, we always love young phenom stories, right? But could a 19-year-old actually in his very first Daytona 500 win? I think that's pretty fascinating. I think it's pretty tough to beat the Busch story, right? It's also tragically the 25th anniversary of Dale crashing. So there's so much that's always wrapped up anytime we come here. There's an abundance of storylines. And again, one of the advantages of it being the first event of the season is those narratives are all ready to be valid. Every single one of them can come true because it's the start of the season.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a 19-year-old winning it. There's a 50-year-old trying to, who's one of, he's arguably a Mount Rushmore NASCAR driver,
doubt.
Jimmy Johnson. I always think back, and it's mixing metaphors a bit, Tom Watson. Gosh, I meant to look this up and I forgot. But
I was there right at Turnberry. I was there part of the telecast coverage when he was 59.
59 years old. Thank you. He's the greatest. He's the greatest. But where it was, you're a lifetime exemption. You get to come play because you're a champion, but you can't win it. And then on the 72nd hole, it's like he could win it. And he obviously, came this close. I don't feel like Jimmy Johnson winning would be that level of stunner because he did come in third last year.
Exactly.
And there is a randomness element to it. But I also think, nobody's picking Jimmy Johnson, I don't think, or expecting. What do you think, the buzz about him being back here and his own expectations, if any, for this race?
I think you said it best. That the fact that he finished third a year ago takes away sort of the, oh my God, it's the Disney script, it's the rookie. It's, first of all, he has the pedigree, which is nearly unmatched in the sport. Secondly, he's a brand name and Mount Rushmore guy. Third, he's done other things in other motorsports, which of course Fox is a part of as well. And then I think finally, I do think he's a guy that is beloved in the sport.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't know how much you know about Jimmy Johnson and sort of his physical regimen when he was at the peak of the sport, when he just decided in the midst of doing all this to become what I would consider to be, for somebody at his age, an elite marathon runner, which he did. There's so much about him which is fascinating. You can't count the guy out on anything. It would be remarkable. It would not be Tom Watson winning the Open Championship, but it would be pretty remarkable and pretty cool.
We know the big one, or the wreck, is a huge storyline here, but the average margin of victory is like 0.2 of a second, even less than that. So how big of a storyline is the photo finish?
Boy, I think it's amazing when you consider how tight that margin. Think about that. You're going to drive for this length of time across this distance in terms of mileage, and it comes down to something. But the other part of it, again, to go to the last lap and to go to the notion of most times in most sports. Now, maybe the Super Bowl was a counter argument to this. I'd love to get your take on it. Aggression is lauded.
Yeah.
It's rewarded. Here, aggression often works against you. It's the discipline to be cautious, pick your spot, bide your time, and then strike. I mean, listen, you can make the case in the playoffs, certainly in the Super Bowl, there was a lot of discipline that was practiced by Seattle.
Well, they knew New England would never be able to score.
Okay.
I mean, they had seen
Any
up to that
action
point.
by New England.
Yeah, Seattle was like, I mean, these guys aren't going to be able to move the ball on us.
It was 4th and 1. Like Vrabel, let's just go for it.
I mean,
just a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom, thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to your piece on Denny Hamlin, 12:30 Sunday on Fox. Always a pleasure. Enjoy the race. We look forward to having you soon.
I love being with you. Stop the fake news and the false rumors about inviting me to the studio.
Oh.
I don't come. Any of that.
When do you want? Can you get my calendar out?
I knew he'd call me on that one. I just walked right into that. Bro, we know each other a long time. You can't protect me?
Like, Tom, there's a
Save me from
Pelicans
myself.
Hornets game. Give me your take on the Pelicans. More first things first.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
Welcome back to a very special edition of First Things First, live from the Daytona 500. Joining us now, a Daytona 500 champ, Austin Dillon, won in 2018. He's got 4 top 10 finishes here and 85 top 10 finishes in the Cup Series. And Austin, I want to welcome you to the show and also welcome you back. I don't know if you remember, but you were a guest on the show before Brew and I, and before Nick had hair.
Man, we were looking good that day.
I know, man. That's what I'm saying.
I think we look styling right there.
See, these guys, I keep trying to get these guys to make shave your head bets.
No, it's not a good
Because
look.
I know, no, please. I know how good I look with a shaved head. These guys are afraid to do it.
I don't know. It's good for the drafting.
I guess that's what Joey Logano's going with this year. You know?
You're one of the few racers out there who's already won this thing, Austin. Is that a huge advantage, or is it like, you know what, I'm just like any other guy out there?
Man, it's awesome when you come through the tunnel here and you feel like you've won this race. It gives you confidence. You get excited. Every opportunity that you get to come and run a Daytona 500, let alone win it, is enough for me. I'm excited to get here and try to be a 2-time.
Well, so that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, there have been 13 in the history, NASCAR history, 2-time Daytona 500 champions. Winning that race 8 years ago elevated you within the sport, and your name being a multi-time champion puts you in a totally different class. How much of that has been bouncing around your head, not just this week, but this week for each of the last 7 years ever since you won it?
Well, I was really close in, I think, 21 or 22. I finished 3rd, and it's right there. And I don't know what it is about Daytona. It's a storyline place, man. I mean, Kyle Busch set the pole last night. He's been trying to do this for 20 years to win a Daytona 500. And, you just try and figure out ways to put yourself in a good position and be there in the last lap, and you never know what can happen here at Daytona.
Your grandfather's Richard Childress. I mean, does that put pressure on you, extra pressure to win each week you're out there?
I definitely, when I won it in 18, I felt like, okay, maybe, that's enough. But, he is such a stalwart in the garage. He's always going to be on top of the trailer, pushing us as a team to go out there and deliver. And I respect him so much for that. He's a hero of our sport and one of the only owners, like I said, that's always here every single weekend, day in, day out at the shop. He makes you elevate your game because he's always consistent.
You've got, I'm going to read the stats so I don't get it wrong. Among active drivers with 20 starts, you are tied with the best average finish.
Okay.
So you're just consistent. Are you running this race to be consistent, or you're like, you know what, I've always kind of been there, I'm going to switch it up this time, is kind of go for broke?
Yeah. I think you have to have a mindset one way or the other. You got to pick it before the race starts. It's are we going to get to the end of this thing, or are we going to be aggressive the whole time?
So you pick that before. It's not like, well, I'm going to see how it plays out. Halfway through, make a call.
You kind of need to feel out the pack, really. And if you're in situations that you're not supposed to be in, which we all have those intuitions at times in life, it's just like that in a race car, man. When you see a guy out there and he looks squirrely, he's moving around too much, car ain't handling good, I probably don't need to be in this position very long. I need to move, change my spot, get behind someone else, or get to the front. And you have to make those moves pretty early. And I can tell you the regrettable things are me just staying in that position a little too long or not taking the hole that I had that would have got me clear of a wreck. So your mind's always thinking like that in a chess move. It's always one move ahead, and you're trying to put yourself in good positions.
I'm super fascinated by the concept of teamwork in motorsports and I don't mean the guys working on your pit crew and your spotter, I mean the guys Richard Childress Racing team, where you guys want to help each other, but you're also competing with each other. So can you, for a novice like me, can you explain how you thread the needle of you're going to need each other over the course of a race like this, but then at some point it becomes a little prisoner's dilemma and you got to be every man for themselves?
Yeah, well, from an organizational standpoint, everybody in this garage is so good. And when you have these teams that have 4 guys on one team, 3 guys, whatever it may be, you have to we're a 2-car team right now, myself and Kyle Busch. And we have to be tighter than that group of 4 when it comes down to it so we can beat them. I mean, the knowledge that we gain week in and week out from each other is really important. So if I am having a bad weekend and he's having a good weekend, we can pull from that and try and elevate our team. And one of us has got to win. That's our goal every weekend. We want to put one of our CR cars in victory lane.
During the break, we were talking about football and basketball. So you're into sports.
I love sports.
And you played baseball. Went to the 2002 Little League World Series. So how'd you end up choosing racing over baseball?
Well, it's pretty simple. I stopped growing, and everybody's the same size in a race car, man. So this was the path for me, and I've enjoyed it. But, man, I want to be up here with you guys. I love talking sports. It's my favorite thing to do. I love competition, teamwork, whatever it may be.
Well, let's ask you. You're in Charlotte. You're a Carolina fan, Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, he's improving. Rookie year, it looked like he's not our guy. Do you think now he is the franchise quarterback for the next decade?
Man, I think so. I think Dave Canales and him have a good vibe together. I think the offensive line is super important. They've done a good job keeping those guys together. I'm buddies with Taylor Moten. I want to give him a shout out, our right tackle. But, we're building. And I think, who was it, Tet this year? He had a huge year, and that was a big piece of the puzzle, I think. Someone he could consistently go to when he needed. And the run game, man, you got to keep that run game. I think Rico's not coming back. I don't know what's going on. I want another running back like Chuba. We need another running back that can come in there. That two-headed monster seems to work in the NFL. You can see it with the Lions, with Gibbs and Montgomery, and it was big for the Panthers this year, I feel like.
I've got 2 boys, and they're brothers, obviously. And I try to, like, if I do get one gets one thing, the other, it's very important. You and your brother are racing. And when you talked about teammates, it's like, well, it's me and Kyle. Meanwhile, you might be lined up with your
when it gets down to it, there's a little bit different when it comes to blood. You know what I mean?
So how's that play? You got Kyle. If you had Kyle and Ty, what's going on? What's going through your mind?
Yeah, try not to piss off Mom. And biggest thing is that when it gets down to when you have the choice, you better choose yourself and get the 3-car into victory lane. When it comes down to being that tight at the end, you got to make a split decision. But either way, if we can get Kyle Busch, my brother, myself, I'm happy with all 3 of those choices.
3-car, obviously, NASCAR history, the most iconic number. I know this is old hat for you, but this is obviously a special track and the 25th anniversary of the tragic passing of Dale Earnhardt Jr. or Dale Earnhardt, pardon me, Sr. When you took on the 3-car, what went into that, and how much? And I don't know if for you that's just something that's you dealt with the pros and cons of that then and now moved past it, or every time you come out here, does that rattle around in your brain a bit?
I think so. I think every time you come here, the history of the number 3 and what Dale Earnhardt Sr. was able to accomplish. I was here when he won the Daytona 500 in '98. I got to go to victory lane and do the hat dance and be a part of that and understand the celebration, how happy people were. And on the flip, when we lost Dale, I was at home and I saw when everybody came to the shop and laid flowers over the museum. And just the impact that he had as a human being over this sport and the families and the fans of this sport. And that is legendary. And I'm so thankful that I've been able to drive this number 3 and add victories to it and get the chance Sunday to go do it again.
I don't want to have you leave on what is a touching, but, a sad note. So can I ask you a bit about bull riding real quick?
Hey, let's do it, man.
All right, so you own a team, or general manager of a team?
So my grandfather's the owner. I'm the GM. And the Carolina Cowboys.
The Carolina Cowboys, professional bull riding. Have you ever ridden a bull? And what is how does the physicality of that sport compare to the physicality of your sport?
There's no shot that Austin Dillon is ever going to get on a bull. I'll stick to the full roll cage, helmet, all that. I love bull riding. It's an amazing sport. If you guys, I'd love to invite you out. PBR Teams is a new sport. We're 4 years in. The Carolina Cowboys we won the championship last year in Vegas, took home the title. We got the buckle here this weekend. We're doing a buckle tour. But, man, it is so cool watching those guys fight 2,000-pound bulls and try and stay on them for 8 seconds. And there's a lot of stats in it, man. We got bulls that turn left and bulls that turn right. We got right-handed riders and left-handed riders. And there's a percentage difference between going into your hand and away from your hand. So as a GM, I'm always looking for the best riders to fit the lineup. And we've got coaches, trainers, everything, man. You guys got to check out PBR Teams.
I'm into it.
And you said it's in Vegas? Oh, we get a bull riding in Vegas. What do you mean?
He's just trying to get to Vegas.
I got you.
From talking, listen, Austin's been on the show a couple times. I know a little bit about him. He and I might have a good time in Vegas together. Okay.
We'll get you a nice cowboy hat. We'll get you a resist-off cowboy hat, some boots.
All right, well, best of luck. Good luck on Sunday. Good luck to the
Thanks for coming. Enjoy it.
Tune into First Things First for all the Hornets coverage. Hornets coverage.
Let's go Hornets.
More First Things First live from the Daytona 500 next. Welcome back to First Things First live from the Daytona 500. I got another fun fact.
I love it.
Remember we were talking about how it was hard to capture the grandeur and just sheer scope of this place.
Yes.
The fun fact is, during renovations in 2016, they had to account for 7 inches of the Earth's curvature.
Oh, because it's so big.
Because it's so big.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That is incredible. What a
Take
shot.
that, flat earthers.
Look at that shot.
But right now, you're in for a very special edition of the most motivational segment in all of sports. It's the Bud List.
Yeah, and there was someone on the bubble, Wilds.
Oh, who was it?
I decided to go all Daytona 500, but Commissioner Adam Silver of the NBA, a lot of work to do this weekend with with his meeting with the press on Saturday. So he'll have a lot of questions to answer. But I'm going all motivation for the Daytona 500. At number 3, I mentioned him earlier. He's my guy. I'm picking him to win this thing, Bubba Wallace. Now, this is his track. He's had 6 top 10 finishes here. Twice he finished runner-up. 7 of the last 10 races here have had a first-time champion. So the table feels like it's set for Bubba to go ahead and win this trophy right here. And he will be the first driver for the 2311 Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin ownership group.
Wow.
to win here at the Daytona 500. So,
Drew, I feel like we should put a
Bubba.
call into MJ and see if he wants to come on the show tomorrow.
We've never asked him
yeah,
on.
I have. I've asked him privately.
Maybe ask him. Maybe one of the days I'm out. Come on.
That would be fire if it's true. But Bubba, I believe in you. All right, at number 2, he's been on the show. He was just here about an hour ago. Kyle Busch. We all know this is the only race, the Crown Jewel race, that he has not won. He could have win all 4 of those races if he pulls this off. He's been here 20 times, has yet to win. He's been in a bit of a slump.
Yeah.
Had 93 races since his last win. He's got 63 career wins, so he's had a ton, but just hasn't been able to get in that winner's circle recently. So this is big for him, and I believe, look, he's got the pole position, obviously driving well so far, be a great start to this season for him. So Kyle Busch, this is all motivation. I believe in you.
Can I ask you a question, bro?
Yep.
Based on his interview, and I'll ask you too, Nick, did you think that he was going to be aggressive tonight or take it easy?
He sounded like he was going to be aggressive.
I thought so too.
I will take the under in that. I think he's going to try to test out the car early
and then let it go.
And then
That makes sense,
sit back to make sure he doesn't have to use a backup car tomorrow since he on Sunday since he has the pole.
Yeah, no, I think he's got a great shot at doing this, and that'd be fantastic. All right, at number 1, look, William Byron.
Yep.
I mean, he is not only looking to do something that no other driver has ever done, but that no other team has ever done. No team has won 3 consecutive Daytona 500s. He is going for that as the winner of the last 2 races here. And so, I mean, 28 years old, he already became the youngest guy to win this race twice.
Yep.
To win it at 28 years old, a third time would be incredible. And this is his track. He's had 8 starts in his career because he's so young. 2 top 20 finishes. Both of them were here, his victory. So this is a track he feels comfortable with. And so I think he's got a great shot. So, William, I believe in you. That's the Bud list.
Great Bud list, Brew. I'm going to throw quickly Kyle Larson on there because he's won the season championship twice, including last year. If he were to win this race, he would join Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Sr., Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick as the only other 4 people to win all 4 crown jewels.
Yeah.
It's literally much like Kyle Busch. The only thing he has not done in his career, however, unlike Kyle Busch, he's never really been close here. He has 0 top 5s. He only has 4 top 10s. So he hasn't won it, and he struggled at this race, at the Daytona International Speedway, particularly in the Daytona 500. So, and he would be the only active driver to win all 4 crown jewels. It would culminate a great career. So I'm putting Kyle Larson on the Bud list.
I think that's excellent. I'm going to deviate a little bit and just quickly put anyone who's not believing in Drake May on the Bud list.
Wow.
I just derailed all or it's Daytona 500 talking about Drake May. Drake May, I still believe in you. All right, coming up next, we conclude a very special episode of First Things First, live from Daytona. The race is on Sunday. Coverage starts at 12:30. We're talking about the duels that are coming up.
Got our picks
tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And some early picks for the duels or the whole race?
For the duels.
Okay,
We're doing
good. I also have a feeling about the whole race now. I got much smarter.
Okay, good.
Live from the Daytona 500 tomorrow. Got an excellent lineup. The one and only Jeff Gordon will be here. Joey Logano, who is my guy. Although, you know, I became a Suarez guy.
Yeah, I know.
I
tell him
switched
that?
up.
You're picking him now.
Yeah, but now talk to Logano.
Dawn, you're not picking him.
Afternoon headline sponsored by Kraft Mac and Cheese, the best thing ever. Coming up at 7 o'clock, the Duel at Daytona. Nick, what are your thoughts on who takes home the duel tonight?
And this matters because the winner of each duel will start essentially in 3rd and 4th position. So I think this is more likely to be the favorites than the actual race because guys are going to be more cautious not to crash. So Duel 1, I'll take your guy Joey Logano, and Duel 2, I'll take race favorite Denny Hamlin. It's basically both be in row 2 for the start of the race on Sunday.
Well, I'm going to talk about 2 guys trying to get in the race. There's 6 guys in the duels that are trying to qualify for the Daytona 500. Chandler Smith has missed it twice. I think he gets in finally. And B.J. McLeod, 42 years old.
I like that. Be aggressive or you go home.
Yeah,
it's due dates, Brew. You're all about due dates.
Particularly Chandler.
Join us tomorrow live from the Daytona 500. Enjoy the duels tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Have a great night.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose?
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time, 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.